Hello, and welcome to Greatness Through a Different Lens. My name is Tiffany James, and I want you to know it's such an honor to be with you on today. I want to first start off by saying that during our time together, the only thing that I desire is for you to just relax, for you to free your mind, and for you to open up the ears of your heart. I also want to say this upfront, that there is no singular definition of greatness. So I'm not here to redefine what greatness means to you, but my goal is simple, and that is to encourage you that you are enough. And my other desire is that you will leave here today knowing that greatness is actually within you. And being that our time together is so short, I want to do that in the most simplistic way possible. So today, we will be discussing three things: the narrative of greatness that exists today, the cycle of self-doubt that this narrative oftentimes creates, and then I'll be sharing with you what greatness means to me. So let's get started and talk about this thing called greatness. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, the word greatness or the concept of greatness was not something that I heard very often growing up on the south side of Chicago. And when I did hear about this word greatness, oftentimes it was associated with individuals who had wealth, they had fame, power, they had somehow was able to obtain success. They had this Ivy League education. They were considered to be exceptional at everything they did. Their gifts, their talents, their knowledge was greater than all others. Today, I believe they call it hashtag GOAT, the greatest of all times. And I don't know about you, but this created a narrative for me at a very early age. And I believe that in order to be great, you had to be born with or be born into greatness. That greatness was this title that you had to compete for in life. And that greatness was this sort of Ivy League club that was reserved for those who had this kind of elite pedigree. And I felt like society was giving me a very clear message, being that I was Black, young Black, lived in the inner city. My parents were middle class. Neither of my parents had a college degree. So we had no wealth, we had no fame, we had no influence. And so I felt like that society was saying that I was disqualified from greatness, that I was going into this world or entering into my adult life at a disadvantage. And I want you to know that I struggle with this. It caused me to question myself over and over and over again, questioning, am I enough? Now, although I have gone on a journey of discovering what greatness truly means to me and understanding that this narrative for me is inaccurate, I still, even though I don't believe this narrative anymore, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, I believe that it is being reinforced now more than ever through the images that we see that is branded through the infrastructure of our society. These images that I feel like we can't even escape. They're everywhere. Images on billboards, in magazines, books, and I don't want to talk about it, but I'm gonna have to, the greatest beast of them all, social media, where for 24 hours a day, every single day, I want you to think about it. Every hour, every minute, every second of the day, we are bombarded by images that reinforces this narrative that this is the standard of greatness. And what happens is it creates for us this cycle, and that's this cycle of self-doubt, where we began to question who we are. We began to ask if who we are, what we possess, and what we have to offer, is it enough? Does it measure up to this standard? And the way we do that oftentimes is very subtle. But now, because we have a standard of greatness, we find ourselves measuring ourselves to this standard through comparison. And I want you to know that comparison is a trap in and of itself when you think about it. Because how can you accurately compare yourself to someone who was created to be different than you on purpose? I want you to think about that. Not to mention that most times when we're comparing ourselves to images that we see, we don't realize that these images have been polished and perfected, and that we're looking at a perception of what we believe that these individuals have been able to accomplish in life. And I want you to know that when we compare ourselves, we diminish the beauty and the mystery of individuality. Audre Lorde said this. It's a powerful quote. If I did not define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive. This is what happens when we compare ourselves and when we allow things outside of us to define us. It begins to create this internal conflict because we're still doubting if we are enough. And out of fear of being rejected, out of fear of being judged, out of fear of failing, although Zig Ziglar says this, that failure is an event, it is not a person. And we can always move past an event. But yet and still, out of fear of failing, we find ourselves doing anything and everything to live up to the standard of greatness. And what happens? We find ourselves conforming in order to be validated. And when we conform, we don't even realize that now we're presenting to the world a very polished and a very perfected image of ourselves. And it doesn't even reflect who we really are. And it costs us so much. And depending on who we are and where we are in life, that cost looks different for all of us. It costs you your joy, your peace, your freedom, relationships. But I want you to know the ultimate price that I believe we all pay is that we lose sight of who we were created to be, that we lose sight of who we are, that now we have given the privilege and the right to just be, to be who we were created to be, over to all of these standards. And I want to say this, we don't even know who deemed it the standard. And now I want you to know that we're no longer moving, breathing, and living out our purpose in life. We're simply performing. And I want you to know that that's a price that is too high to pay, because all of us were created on purpose for a purpose. I want you to know that when you walk in the room, don't you know that you bring something that has never been seen before? Because no one can be great at being you. And this, to me, is what greatness means. It is when we learn how to reign in purpose. I believe all of us were given what I like to call seeds of potential. And these seeds of potential has been intrinsically woven into our very being by God. And just like seeds in the natural that we plant in the garden, they come in all different types of sizes and shapes and packages. But I want you to know something. They have one thing in common. They have the ability to become, just like you and me. Within us, these seeds of potential, this innate ability that we have, oh my God, it has the capacity to become, meaning we get an opportunity to be who we were meant to be and to fulfill the purpose we were meant to fulfill. And how can you measure that? You can't. And it means something. It means that greatness is not something that you have to strive for. You don't have to obtain it. Greatness is something that you actually have to discover because greatness is within you. A few years ago, as I was going on this journey to discover what greatness truly means, when I was on this journey of discovering who I was created to be, I decided to kind of write a narrative of what greatness means to me in my book. And I want us to end there as I began to share this narrative that I believe will encourage you. So I want you to sit back and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to continue to leave the ears of your heart wide open as I read this narrative, this inspirational piece on greatness. Are you ready? All right. Greatness. Greatness unrecognized is a seed of potential. Out of the hollowness of your soul, it calls out to you. It will not be denied and no longer will it be confined because it is absolute. Greatness never apologizes. It is comfortable looking back and it is never afraid to press forward. It is not a shadow of what is to come, but a reflection of what already is. It's never blind to the truth, but it is constantly challenged by it. Greatness is never to be boxed in by the walls of expectations. The depths of your disconnect to greatness can show the level of your fear, and it can cause you to deny yourself each time. You may get stuck while searching for a path to greatness through the crevices of your soul, but never give up your quest, because greatness hungers for the purpose it was meant to fulfill. Every time you tap into your purpose, I want you to know that you're tapping into your greatness. When the sun rises, it shows forth its greatness. When it sets, it still shows off its greatness, because no matter what position it is in, the sun knows its purpose. I want you to know that greatness may be nervous, maybe even a little unsure, but it is never afraid to look you in the eye because greatness acknowledges and honors greatness. It shuts out the doubters, binds the excuses, and is never hindered by rejection, but it is empowered by it. Greatness can be patient as well as impatient, but it does not complain. It simply does what is needed to bring about change. We all have this innate desire to be something better than our current self. You must understand it is because you were created with the ability to enhance. Desiring to be more does not mean anything is wrong with you. You are enough. Remember, greatness is a seed, and there is nothing wrong with a seed. It has an innate ability to become. Greatness is nothing to strive for or even something to obtain, because it is a state of being. Greatness is always reinventing itself, a beautiful unveiling of the truth. It encourages everyone, it respects everyone, and it makes room for others. I want you to know that greatness is an exhilarating journey that we are all on. I want you to know that greatness is within you. You are enough. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. And so I want you to go out, and today is a pretty good day for you to go out and embrace the journey of discovering your greatness and finding the boldness to rock the HELL out of it. And if you find yourself struggling on this journey of greatness, I want you to know that I'm here for you. My contact information is right here. Please jot it down, take a picture, but know that I'm here for you. And on behalf of the Hivory and myself, I want to say thank you for watching. Have a great day.